What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today is January 28th of 2022, and most of us woke up this morning to news that a bridge in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania has collapsed. They're saying this was a snow-covered bridge. Of course, it's highly unlikely the snow had anything to do with this collapse. But the big strange thing about this story is that Joe Biden just happens to be on his way to Pittsburgh this morning for a scheduled visit. And in that visit, he's going to be talking about the new infrastructure bill. So once again, we're forced to ask, what are the odds? The president on his way to Pittsburgh to talk about infrastructure, and in that city that very morning, a piece of infrastructure fails. Fortunately, they're saying nobody was killed in this incident. It's easy to see how people were injured, though. Even have one car upside down here, some other wreckage at the bottom. Looks pretty bad. So we're going to talk about in this video why today was chosen for this news story, as news in this country, anything through the mainstream media, always occurring by the numbers. When we talk about numerology, one of the most important aspects of this is the language of Gematria, or Gematria, the ancient practice of coding numbers into words and phrases. It's a part of our English alphabet that not many people are aware of, but when you do look at the numbers that sit behind the letters, reality becomes a lot stranger than it actually already is. So we start with today's date, January 28th. Notice how today leaves 337 days on the calendar. Biden will be in Pittsburgh to talk about the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, which is called the Bipartisan Infrastructure Bill in the media. And it's called this in the media because they want to remind us that this has bipartisan support, which makes people think that there's not that much debate on it. Using the standard alphabetic order, bipartisan infrastructure bill has a value of 337, again, lining up with today's date. They've been saying that it's a snow-covered bridge. Notice how the word snow sums to 71 in the alphabetic order and 17 in the reduction or Pythagorean method, where every number is reduced to a single digit. Today's date has primary numerology of 71 with a reduced sum of 17. But back to this 337. 337 is what we call a prime number, divisible only by 1 and itself. It's the 68th prime number connecting us to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which has gematria of 68 when abbreviated. Notice how this infrastructure bill was signed into law by President Joe Biden on November 15th. We'll look deeper into this date in a little bit. But what's so significant about that date is that it had primary numerology of 67, which is ideal for an infrastructure bill to be signed. Notice how infrastructure summing to 67 in Pythagorean. Let's take a look at the value of the word bridge in our Jewish or Latin cipher. This cipher based in the ancient Latin alphabetic order with the more modern English characters placed at the end, and I teach this cipher in every one of my videos. Notice how there the bridge or the word bridge sums to 107. This is another prime number, the 28th prime number. And think about today's date, January 28th, the 28th day of the year. Using the standard alphabetic order, the phrase bridge collapse sums to 128, just like today's date, January 28th, written 128. There was another large number cipher on the screen earlier. That's called English Extended Gematria, which uses the current 26-letter alphabet. And in that method, Notice how Frick equals 128. This bridge collapse in Pittsburgh was at Frick Park. In fact, Frick Park, Pittsburgh, PA sums to 128 as well. This 128 value connects us to Joe Biden. Biden assumed the office on January 20th of 2021, which was exactly 12 months and 8 days before his visit to Pittsburgh on the same day as the bridge collapse. $128 is actually 64 times 2. Joe Biden bridges equals 128, as both of these sum to 64. Bridge collapse also 640 in one of our mathematical ciphers. But one more look at this date, January 28th. Like bridge collapse, 128. There's another way to write this date internationally. It would be 28/1. This represents the number 281, which is the 60th prime number. And this connects us to Biden, which sums to 60 in Latin Gematria. This collapse was at Frick Park, summing to 60 in reverse reduction. Looking again at the date that Biden took office, if you instead convert this to years, notice how we get 1 year, 0 months, and 8 days. This 108 is another significant number to Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., whose full name sums to 108 in reduction. 108 is the Latin value of Frick, the park where this bridge collapsed due to snow. Now, it probably, again, wasn't due to snow, but they are always saying that this was a snow-covered bridge. So now let's look at how this actually relates to the signing of the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. First, we find that Joe Biden has been in office for 373 days. This is an important prime number, the 74th prime number. And if you measure from the date that Joe Biden signed this bill to the date of the collapse, you get 74 days. Today's news falls 7 months and 4 days after the Surfside condo collapse. Remember, in Florida, in June of last year, we had that condo collapse in which a fair number of people died. And yeah, that was 7 months and 4 days ago. Furthermore, when we look at the most famous bridge or building collapses of all time, which was on September 11th of 2001, notice how today falls 7,444 days later. The World Trade Center sat almost perfectly on the 74th meridian. See this? Literally just like 2 or 3 blocks over from the 74th meridian was the World Trade Center. And think about how New York equals the 74th prime number using the prime number cipher. Using the S exception, bridge collapse has a value of 74. Bridge collapse also sums to 79, which happens to be Joe Biden's current age. One more thing I wanted to mention is that when we had the Surfside condo collapse in June of last year, that happened within 24 hours of another major collapse, which saw a pedestrian bridge collapse in Washington, D.C. Of course, D.C., the home of our government, which passed this bill a number of months later. Now, that collapse was 219 days before this collapse in Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh just swore in a new mayor. And notice how Ed Gainey was born on February 19th, or 219. All right, guys, that'll do it for this quick video. Thanks for jumping in. Peace, love, God bless, and we'll talk to you next time. See ya.